Hello and welcome back to the lab. Today on the bench we have this little thing. This is another one of the Heath kit line of Heath Built, and it is a EUW 17. It is an unregulated transistorized DC supply for scientific and educational purposes. The EUW were usually built by Heathkit for colleges and universities, things like that, and hence the color scheme and the form factor. Not really much going on here. One knob, DC out the top, and that's about it. Quick inspection. We are missing something important, so I have to look at the schematic real quick. I'm not sure exactly where that fuse is, but we'll take a look. I expect this to be a relatively quick repair. There's probably not much to this thing. Transformer, some rectification, maybe a pass element or two, and a couple of capacitors for filtering, although the literature does say this is not regulated, but it is well filtered. So let me grab a schematic real quick, take a look at it. And looking over the schematic real fast, this is about as simple as a power supply gets. So we have a neon pilot light, which will be down here. Transformer, full wave rectifier, so not a bridge configuration, but center tapped transformer. Filter cap out of the power supply. Potentiometer, that's going to be the control right here at the front. And then a little bit of odd configuration here is we have a capacitor and a resistor on the base. The capacitor actually is going to float a little bit here, and so any ripple on here is going to come through to the base of the transistor. So even though it's not regulated, this is supposed to give us this will give us more filtering than just the capacitor in and of itself. Haven't read the documentation yet, so I'm not really sure what they were thinking here at the moment. But so we have a DC path here where this is going to block DC, but if there's any ripple up here, it's going to come down into the base and it's going to ripple the pass element, which should stabilize the voltage. Post element, don't want to say it's regulated, but it would be stabilized. Bleeder resistor coming off of the capacitor, and to give the transistor load when there's no load on the plus and minus. And then we have a 0.1 microfarad 50 volt cap just filtering right at the output. So really not much stuff to do. There's a fuse, which is actually on the output on this one, so that's a weird place to put the fuse. Normally they're in on the line side. So we have an output fuse, half an amp. We'll have to get that replaced. A pass element, 3 resistors in a pot, and 3 capacitors, and that's all that's hiding out in here. So really straightforward power supply, not too bad. Let's get this open, and then let's actually see how good the regulation really is. All right, to crack this open, we're going to go in on the sides. All right. Do we have components or do we have rocks? We have crust falling. Oh, more screws. Bottom ones are going to have to come off probably. Theoretically, the feet shouldn't need to come out. But yeah, these are self-tappers into the sheet metal. There we go. Oh, tag board construction. Okay, not bad. So here's our transformer. We do have a tag board. I see a diode. Where's the other diode? Have to look around for that, see if we can find it. There's our pot. Capacitor. Got this cap, which ties up to the pot here, and then the tag board down at the bottom, so not too bad. Our output filter, I don't know if you guys can see that. Output filter is actually right there. It is, actually. Right there. on the directly on the outputs. So that 1 nanos, that's going to be fine. That's a polycap. I'm curious because I'm only seeing a single diode, though. All right, let me spend some time with this, see if I can't figure out where that other diode went. Okay, found it. The other diode is actually tucked back underneath the tag board in the back, right in line with this diode, so they're back to back. So that's not going to be a problem. So really, clean up this potentiometer, swap out these 2 caps, and we'll give this thing a test, see if it's good to go. That pass element is smaller than I expected, but it's well heat sunk to this, what is that, aluminum? Yeah, aluminum plate. All in all, doesn't look terrible. So let's get these caps swapped out real quick. The modern equivalents are going to be much smaller. All right, we have the capacitors replaced, and everything's good. We put some 1500 microfarads by 50 volts in there. Were these needed? Were these capacitors needed? Ooh, yeah, these were real bad. But the weird news is, the weird thing is they're bad in different ways. So the first one, these are both 500 mic. And the ESR is okay, but the capacitive value is way out. So this one's exhibiting DC leakage. Not great. And what do we got for this one? ESR is terrible, and it's also moving up there. So on one of them, the ESR is bad. On one of them, the leakage is bad, but both of those have got to go. So let me get a fuse, and then we'll fire it up, put some power to it, and see what happens. Should get some voltage. Okay, not an exact fit, but we did find a cap, and I found a fuse. The cap was a good enough fit where it was safe. Put some test leads in the front. Put this about half voltage. This should give us voltage as I turn the variac up. So what we're going to do, just sides are open and everything, fuse is in there. So as I give this variac some voltage, we should start to see some things. Huh? It's trying. It appears. That doesn't look great, though. No output. That's not good. Very simple circuit, so as long as I've got power on the rectification capacitor, it's probably going to be the pass element, which may not be great. All right, we haven't used some of the older gear in a little while, so let's see what the needle meter's telling us. Should be fun to troubleshoot something with some of our older equipment here in the lab. So even though the probe's black, this is the DC probe for the HP 410B. So what we're going to do, we're going to turn this unit on. There we go. We're going to measure. So I've got it on the ground side of the capacitor, and then we're going to just hit here. And I have... it's on the 100-volt range, so that's saying 32-ish volts across that cap. All right, so that works. So my rectification's working, transformer's working, everything is working. Yeah, getting closer and closer and closer to that pass element. Give it a go as to what's going into the fuse. Next, let's see what happens. Set mid-range-ish. Oh, hello. Let me make this a little bit safer. I'm going to get a clip and just clip the meter up there because I want to wiggle that and see if it's working. Oh, No, I see it. That's why it's fucked. All right. Well, I think I see the problem. This is going to be a rather simple fix, but I do have to fix it. It's a bigger fix than a simple one. But it is going to be an easy-ish fix. Ish being the operative statement. Okay, so I have the probe hooked up to the output lead of the transistor, and we do get deflection on the meter. Let's see, and I can move. All right, yep. Okay, so my pass element's working. So this verifies pass element's working. Now, let me show you what I saw and what we're going to have to fix. The fuse holder's not even connected. Make this safe so I don't zap myself. So we have this white wire right here, which is an output, which should be on the fuse holder, is not. I also hooked up the meter up here on the fuse, and it was not happy. So I got to replace this fuse holder. So the output, the negative output, isn't even connected right now. That's why we're not getting any signal through it. So let's get this fuse out of here. I don't think this fuse blew. Shouldn't have, at least. But we can check it. We'll just kick this into ohms. And ohms is the red one. Survey says, yep, fuse is fine. Ohms on a needle meter is when it sweeps down. So high impedance is up at the top end of the meter. Low impedance, like a fuse, would be at the bottom end of the meter. So it flipped down. Everything's good to go. So fuse holder needs to be replaced. Let me do that real fast. All right, I've got the meter back in voltage mode. I'm going to flip this on. I got the potentiometer set about halfway. New fuse holder is in. No smoke, and we are climbing. Look at that. Very much not unhappy with that. And I'm on the 100-volt range, so full scale would be 100 volts. So that's right at about 20 volts. So really not unhappy with that. Let's move up to the load. We'll put some load on it, and let's see how well this unregulated but stabilized power supply does. Well, I'm not too mad about that. 19.3 when the 410 was just under 20. Not mad about that at all. Let's see if we can make it 20. Pull it back a bit. Having the additional capacitance in there did slow the reaction time of the power supply down just a touch. So it takes a minute for that larger cap to stabilize, especially the documentation says it's about a 50x regulation. So with a 1500 mic cap, that's running right about a 7,000 microfarad capacitor. So that's not terrible. So let's go ahead, and this is a light duty supply, so we'll ask it for 0.1 amps. Where's my amp? I guess I just hit enter. Yep, 0.1 amps. I got a 400 milliamp fuse in there right now, so we won't have a problem on the fuse, but give it a load. And we drop 5 volts. Not terrible, considering that we know this power supply is unregulated. But I'm only at half, and I think it's rated for 25 volts, so I can always boost up the voltage. Just like that. And there's our 20 volts back. Now we went up an entire tick mark on the front of the power on the front of the unit. So we were set here. we're now set here for 20 volts. So under a 100 milliamp load, I had to come up here, but I still have all this to go. So we have plenty of overhead, not a problem. And if I take the load off, it's probably going to jump to about 25 volts. There we go. So just shy of 25 volts. So I got about a 5 volt sag from it not being a regulated power supply. Now that's the main difference between just a power supply and a regulated power supply. I would expect the regulated power supply to be much more precise when it comes to dynamic currents like that. This is also a significant amount of current. Like, this isn't a small load. I think this power, well, the power supply's only got a 1/2 amp fuse in it, so it's only rated for, I think, actually I can check the service documentation. So, checking the service documentation, it does say it'll go up to about 35 volts without a load, and it'll put out 25 volts at maximum current. So, we'll crank it up to see how high it goes. And there's our 35 volts. And let's ask it for 0.2. Okay, so it's saying at maximum current it should be putting out 25 volts. We're still a little high at 0.2. So I would say this power supply is probably rated for about 250 milliamps, just given what I'm seeing. 0.25. Yeah, 250 milliamps. So the wild part about this is the specification sheet doesn't even have what the maximum current is, so we kind of had to do that by experimentation. But yeah, everything's working with this little power supply. As I was putting the covers back on, check out what I found. Made in Canada. Hello to all the Canadian viewers in the up north. Nice piece of gear. Dates back to the 50s and 60s vintage, but you don't see Made in Canada stickers very much. Well, thanks for stopping by the lab and taking a look at this small transistorized power supply. The transistorized was big news when this was put together. Transistors were still pretty new. If you like what you see, hit all the YouTube buttons and hang around. Like, share, and subscribe. As always, Patreon support helps keep the videos coming and the lights on here in the lab. And as always, their help is greatly appreciated. If you'd like to check out some more content, take a look at the Patreon page. Patreons are running ahead from video YouTube releases. And hang around. I will see everybody in the comments section in between videos. As always, more is on the way. And I will see everybody in the next video. Bye for now.